What's up, everyone? Welcome to Bilbrons and Dragons. I'm your host, Bilbron DaoLockStone. So today we're having another battle report for my Molebron DaoLockStone build, which I've been playing on a Westmarch server called the Forged Concordance, which is super awesome. I highly recommend it. All of the relevant information will be in the video description below. Check it out and we can adventure together. So today's episode was called the Skyrider Grand Prix, and it was run by DM Nordy, who did a fantastic job. I have played at Nordy's table once before and have been trying to get back to his world of Meridian many times since then, because it's a really well-developed world, maybe the most and best developed world within the Forged Concordance, and Nordy is a great DM who has not only a reputation for really strong and difficult and dangerous battles in which many players have died, but his role-playing is superlative, really fantastic. And so, I really wanted to get back to Meridian and play at Nordy's table again. Very happy to have done so in this adventure, because it was something of a departure. It was like all role-playing, no combat. Very interesting setup, and it really allowed me to try and be creative in my abilities and how I approached the game, and had a ton of fun. So thanks to Nordy for that. So the adventure starts as it always does, with Bilbron riding in from Viscala, stopping by in Haroon to catch up with the goings-on in Mydath, and then on to the Forged Concordance headquarters looking for a gig. And this time he was so excited to get this gig. It was a silver mission. He needed only one more silver mission to get to gold, which is very exciting. I'll talk about that later. But more importantly, this was for a mission that was unlike any of the others, because it didn't involve killing a bunch of stuff and then not getting any reputation boost out of it because you've killed everything in your path. This was an invitation to participate in the Skyrider Grand Prix, which is literally the Olympics of Daaloon, and was going to be a spectator event watched by hundreds of thousands of citizens throughout Daaloon, and it was going to be this just huge hubbub and gathering of important nobles from across the land and important personages and celebrities, and it just seemed like an amazing opportunity to gain glory. One of the few things that I have not been able to really win in the Forged Concordance so far, because again, you leave no survivors and dead men tell no tales, and the next thing you know, people who should be surrendering and kissing your boots get all uppity, and that's very annoying for a guy like Bilbron. So the Skyrider Grand Prix is a giant race throughout the important landmarks of Meridian, which is in the northeastern part of Daaloon. And I got the gig, so I needed to put a team together of 4, so I needed 3 more. So I added Grinzold, Leonin Barbarian, who I adventured with in the Crater Critters adventure not too long ago. And then 2 people who were strangers to me. One was Ripto, a human paladin who apparently had not had an adventure in almost a year, so was pretty rusty, but was excited to get back into the swing of things. And Mercury, who was a super flamboyant life cleric / lore bard, who was a rock star on the side and really glammy and a pretty interesting character. It was really appropriate for this, performing amongst the throngs of people that this adventure required. And so that was the team, me, Grinzold, Ripto, and Mercury, and we hit a teleport circle up and got to Meridian pretty quickly in preparation for the games. And so as a race, we were provided with customized flying brooms, but we could make them look like whatever we wanted. So Bilbron chose a super fancy flying carpet as a nod to his Dao and Genie heritage, and Ripto did a surfboard, and Grinzold did golden wings coming from his back, and Honestly, I forget what Mercury chose, but it was something super flamboyant. I just I did this adventure like a month ago, so I can't quite remember at the moment. And we were matched up against 3 other teams, and we were like set up on this really circuitous track along the map. But we also, just for visually convenient purposes, had like a grid where we could kind of track where we were in the race relative to our competitors. And it was not just a race where speed was an issue, but also you had to, at certain checkpoints, hang these rings onto hooks, and that involved a skill check of some kind. And that part was pretty cool because it wasn't always just a dictated skill check. Nordy allowed us to choose the skill that we wanted to try and role play how it went down, right? Come up with a reason and role play just, why your intimidation check or whatever would have an effect on trying to get this ring on a hook. And that was super cool. It was kind of like a gentleman's agreement that we would try and do different things instead of doing the same thing each time. And so I was really trying hard, looking at my skill sheet, just trying to think of all these cool ways that I could try to, to accomplish these skill checks and, not get stale and do the same old thing over and over. And yeah, literally at one point I like tried to intimidate the ring itself, right? I was like, you are metal, metals of the earth, I'm master of the earth. You will do as I command or I'll turn you into air or something. And yeah, it worked. So, what can I say? It was pretty funny. At one point I even tried to do an athletics check, even though I'm like -1 on my athletics, and I didn't roll too good. I rolled an 8. But thank God Mercury had given me a bardic inspiration, and I actually made that roll because I rolled max on the bardic inspiration both times that I had to use it. And so that was a setup. It was like a race. You had to go fast, and you had to hit these skill checks. And it was like really fun to try and figure out what kind of skill checks I wanted to use. And it was super fun because the way that we were set up, I was right next to Alexander. Now, keep in mind, this is a timed event, right? Nordy literally had the stopwatch going once we actually started the race, and we wanted to finish as fast as possible. And so we were not only just competing against the people that were in the field against us, but also against the times of all other previous competitors, right? And so the record holder was a kid named Alexander who happened to be next to me in the race. And so that was pretty awesome. And it was made even more awesome by the fact that Alexander turned out to be an artificer who was the younger brother of Abigail. Abigail is like the main contact and quest giver for the various Meridian missions that Nordy gives out. And Bilbron considers her a friend because he will fairly often swing by Meridian with wine and his notes that he got from her to just catch up on the politics and talk about what new creatures have been appearing and what their abilities are and stuff, because Abigail's super organized and Bilbron likes that and likes taking advantage of that interchange of knowledge. And so I was just basically able to talk mad smack to the dude, keeping in mind that Bilbron has expertise in intimidation and Cloak of Flies for advantage on intimidation. He is excellent at the smack talk. Plus, I'm a basketball player and a sports guy from the time I was born, so I can do the smack talk thing. So yeah, the race started, and it became clear pretty quickly that it was going to be Bilbron versus Alexander, because we were blowing the field away. First of all, I had Expeditious Retreat, which I could extend with Extend Spell out to 20 minutes duration, and that gives you basically an extra dash as a bonus action. So I got a huge boost in speed from that, and I was just getting super lucky on my skill checks. I was trying to use all these different ones. I made good rolls for the most part. When I didn't make a good roll, I had Bardic Inspiration to help me out twice. I had my own table inspiration that I had come to the game with for having written a job report for my previous mission. And there were various ways that you could try and get help on the roll. Like I have a familiar who's invisible right through Pact of the Chain. And so he was able to invisibly help me in some cases. And I was just doing all sorts of stuff, like using stealth to, make a fog cloud and, surprise everyone by coming out of the fog cloud with stealth. I told you I intimidated the ring once. I was doing acrobatics and performance and dancing. And also at one point towards the end, when I was really just like, oh, what can I do now? I used a persuasion check on a really beautiful, young, noble Aasimar who, Bilbron put on the charm and, talked to her, hey, go put this ring on the hook for me, will you, baby, while I'm winning this race? And she was all on that, had a great roll. And that actually led to some cool role-playing repercussions, because afterwards, I went and hooked up with her and got her to introduce me to all of her political connections. And so that was pretty sweet. Anyway, I was pulling ahead. Alexander was nipping on my heels the whole time, actually even taking a lead once or twice, because he's an artificer and he had like Flash of Genius, which he just kept popping off and hitting those skill checks. And he, I think, had Expeditious Retreat as well, so he was as fast as me, and it was tough. But I was really smack talking him and hitting him with those like intimidation attempts. And I finally really turned it on and said something pretty digging deep at him, which totally flummoxed him and flabbergasted him, and I was able to get an advantage. But the problem was that I was making all of my skill checks, but you just had to make so many. You just can't make them all. And towards the end, I had this huge lead, and I failed the skill check, and I got magically teleport switched with one of the other competitors. And thank goodness it was one of my colleagues, Ripto, that I switched with. And that actually worked to our advantage because I had been going first. And so what had happened was I went and then and extended my lead, and then at the end of it, I got switched with Ripto, and then Ripto got basically another turn, and so was able to push even further ahead into the lead, and he came in first, smashing the course record. The course record was like 38 minutes and change, and he came in at like 31 minutes and change. So yeah, completely smashed the record. And then Bilbron, even though he got put way back and was super angry about it, managed to still pour on the speed, started teleporting and really pulling out all of the stops, and managed to take second and beat the old record as well with his second place finish. So Alexander came in third, and with the number 1 and number 2 positions in record time, we were able to easily win the team event, and we did it in front of hundreds of thousands of people. It was awesome. I hooked up with this Tenefir Halabaster girl, and got like a really cool role-playing boost from that, because we're celebrities now. We're like record-holding champions. I don't think that record's going to be broken. I knew we were going to do good going in, because I'm a super efficient player who typically knocks out like super fast turns. And when I have my game face on, I'm pretty focused, and I thought for sure that we were going to smash it, and we did, and I bet that record holds. I'll be pretty shocked if anybody managed to beat it. So basking in that glory, it was super awesome. I really enjoyed the game, which only took a couple of hours, and it was really refreshing. No combat, it was all skill checks, all role play. Really great setup event. Got Bilbron the glory that he wanted to burnish his reputation, and made 11th level. Very exciting, because man, from Warlock 10 to Warlock 11 is a huge power bump. Oh, huge power bump. I'll do a video about a tactical analysis of my level 11 build here soon. But in any case, that was the adventure. Mission success. We got our badges and our rewards and our role-playing glory. So thanks so much to Nordy for providing the game. Thanks so much to the team for helping me get through it. And thank you so much for watching. This has been Bilbrons and Dragons. I'm your host, Bilbron DaoLockStone. See you next time.